Hi, everybody. I'm Ginny Schuster. Thank you for joining us on Zoom In with Ginnypreneur. Please like, subscribe, and comment to all these videos that you hear about people and overcoming their fears. This is huge. I'd love for you to join into the conversation. What fears are you facing when you're considering getting into your own business? Or possibly you've already had to overcome a couple of fears. So let us know in the comments below. Also, I'd love it if you would connect with our visitors, our guests that we have. They are some amazing people with amazing stories. Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Ginny Schuster with Ginnypreneur, and I do interviews of small business owners. And today my guest is Patric. I want you to know that Patric is a legend in the winemaking industry. This is going to be so informative. So let me give you some background. What happened was my family went to Palisade, where he is, and we went around to wine taste. And his was one of the vineyards that we went to, and come to find out, lo and behold, he's the one who's helping to serve us, to taste test this. So Patric has been around the block all over the place and is known internationally. So I can't wait to hear his story. How the heck did you get here? And because I see something here that you started out in auto mechanics. I'm sure that that's good for knowing how to tweak machines and all that you have to deal with, but that's a long road to get to vineyards.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, it was a technical trade school that I went to during high school, and started getting some credentials in auto technician, as an auto technician. But yeah, extremely helpful. My grandpa, he was an engineer at Motorola, so it's working with our hands and troubleshooting equipment, it comes a little bit more naturally. And luckily we have issues here in the winery every single day that we need to fix. So, you think we're just making wine, but we're more like your part-time. We're like a DIY electrician, plumber, whatever it calls for. And we just try to troubleshoot everything ourselves first.
I bet.
Yeah.
Save a lot of money that way, right? And
yeah, we just don't have the money,
Yeah. So it's Sauvage Vineyards, is it? Or Sauvage
Spectrum.
Spectrum.
Yep.
And give us some of the background from there. How did you move forward into where you are now?
Yeah, so I was in beer, working at Breckenridge Brewery over there when they were on Kalamazoo in Denver before they got bought out by Anheuser-Busch. And then I was introduced to Ben Parsons, who owned and founded the Infinite Monkey Theorem. That they're a national winery. They're putting wine in cans. So he was really attracted, I think, to my background in beer, and especially high volume packaging, that I went on board with the Infinite Monkey. And personally, that's where I think our success comes from, is a lot of my back training in the beer industry, because it's very rigorous. The standards, they withhold a little bit higher standard, such as in the cleaning as wine and stuff. So I brought my background, my knowledge in the beer industry, and we started kegging wine and we were canning wine, and that was always Ben's vision, but we were really able to pull it off at a high volume type production facility that he'd built out in Rhino. And but working with him, he said, here, I'm going to teach you how to make wine. So he would take me out to the Western Slope, where I'm currently at now, into Palisade, into these vineyards. And then one day we go out there and he goes, here, I'm going to show you how to sample grapes. So we're walking in between the rows, grabbing grapes, tasting them, putting them in a bag. We smash them and send them off for analysis to see when to pick them, really, because we tell the grower when we want to pick. And it was super muddy. We ended up getting the car stuck. And then the grape grower, which we'd never met, I had never met, it was my boss's friend. He comes and gets us out of the mud, and takes us over to his house and makes us hot chocolate. And so at this point, at that, that's when I first met Kaibab Sauvage, and now we're partners. So really, the story is that I grew up in this industry. I'm going on my 11th harvest. So the past 10 years, I started with grapes from this very site, this vineyard that we ended up actually building our winery that we partnered on in 2019. It's the exact same grapes I've been using my whole career in Colorado. So I've kind of grown up with these grapes. We're 100% estate. We're only using grapes that Kaibab grows, and he's actually a legend here in this valley. He's been he grew up here. That's all he knows is Colorado grapes and some other fruit. But he really knows what he's doing. He knows what grows well in which microclimate, and we're very specific on what grows well. And we're just running with it. We're trying to do what we want to do with the grapes, because someone like myself who've worked for corporations, we don't really get the creativity that we need to progress, so, and Kaibab, he's tried every wine that he sold. He still sells his grapes, to over 20 wineries, a lot of them on the Front Range. And so he's tried every wine. We've tried every single style produced from this grape and that grape. And it's really fun to get together. How often do you look at a winery and the people that own it, they make the wine and grow the grapes? That's normally not the case. So ironically, it's a different spin on the whole business. And we're just really crafting wine that we want to make. So it's exciting that people enjoy it.
It's really interesting because when you stop and think about it, an awful lot of people in the back of their minds, they only think of Northern Colorado being or Northern California, Napa Valley, they hear about, and Columbia Valley River area, that sort of stuff. I think that Colorado is starting to get known more and more, don't you, for their vineyards?
Yeah, we're seeing more and more national press, like CNN just ran an article a couple weeks ago. I mean, we're getting press like it's nobody's business. And these farmers, they've been working on that for years here. So it's really, I almost feel bad to be here now, when a lot of them have passed by now, or they've sold their business. I really feel like our industry is exploding right now, and we're getting the attention that people have worked so hard for so many years. And we just have such a unique microclimate, and we get the ripeness. We don't get as ripe as California, but our diurnal shift at night, because we're in this desert here on the western slope, those temperatures are expected to drop 40, 30, 40, 50 degrees. And that retains our acidity. So we're getting these really balanced, phenolically ripe grapes, just beautiful grapes. So it's really exciting. And, there's young blood in the valley, and we're trying new things. So if people have tried Colorado wine before and then they kind of push it off, they say it's too sweet, I just want to urge them to give it another try.
I'm from upstate New York, so I know about Taylor wines, and those are fairly sweet. I don't think people are really opposed to sweetness. And another one that's sweet that an awful lot of people like is Moscato.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want you to know I'm not super smart on wines, but I know a few of them. And getting back to Palisade, they were known mostly for peaches. So what you're saying, Patric, is that they've been growing grapes in that area for a long time?
Yeah, I think the first grapes recorded were planted here possibly in the 1890s. And that was sometime around the same time they figured out the irrigation, and they were running, an irrigation ditch off the canal on the Colorado River. And they're just becoming more and more popular, I think, especially because there's such limited agricultural area here in Colorado. So from what I understand, the grapes demand a little bit, higher price even than the peaches. And just the trajectory of the Colorado wine industry, it just seems like we can never get enough of Colorado grapes to make Colorado wine. But that $1 million breeze, that same breeze and the same elements that create these amazing peaches, they are the same elements that make our grapes so special.
So when you say special, do you grow a variety of the purple, and maybe that's not the right word, purple and
Red,
white?
red and white. Yeah. No, they are purple for sure.
They all taste the same to me, pretty close.
Yeah, it's either red or white. What do you like?
Yeah, red or white.
But yes, so Kaibab, he spent his adult life, since he's 21, figuring out what grows well in this valley. And every year he's planting new varietals that we get to play with. And it's a huge investment because it takes about 3 years before you actually see the fruit. And we grow almost 30, he grows about 30 varietals.
Wow.
Bordeaux, Rhone, Alsatian, German. What's really cool, these American cold hardy varietals, which have been developed in Minnesota, they more and more fit our bill, here in the valley. And we're really seeing that this year with a little bit warmer temperatures and kind of this climate change happening. But you name the varietal, and there's some that we don't grow. Like Cab Sauv is pretty hard to ripen here. It ripens really well in California because they get more growing degree days. But we can get cut short. We're still dealing with challenges like a fall frost could really, put a dampener on your Cab Sauv grapes.
And you never know when that's going to happen, huh?
No, you don't. 2020 was the last one. So we hope we're in the clear for, I don't know, hopefully 10 years or so.
Yeah.
Really nice growing.
You must have a ton of acreage then.
Yeah, Kaibab has amassed about 70 acres that he runs under his grape growing company, and that we pick our grapes from directly. That's what makes us a state.
Is there one wine, red or white, that sells better than another, or does it go kind of by trend and year?
I see some like changes happening, and I don't know if it is with COVID. I think it's maybe the demographic, the main buying demographic is actually getting a little bit younger, and they're willing to experiment a little more. So a lot of what we do is blends. So that's hard to say because I have a Bordeaux, kind of more conservative, traditional Bordeaux blend, and it sells really good, especially in our Uray tasting room. And it's a higher end product. We're dealing with a lot of people on vacation. It's $30+ and people are willing to spend on that, no problem, when they're on vacation. But then here in Palisade, I think we're getting a little bit more of a blue collar worker, or you're getting people, they're on vacation too, bachelorette parties. And I think they're more attracted to our affordable brands, like our Sparklet sparkling wine is just exploding. So I will tell you that any of our Sparklets, we have Sparklet White, Sparklet Rosé, Sparklet Candy Red, a Lambrusco and styled red sparkling wine.
Okay.
Those are flagship. And then our Domain series I have a Domain White, which is a very easy drink and approachable white, kind of like a Sauvignon Blanc. And then I have Domain Red, which it's low on the tannins. So you can crush this wine Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, and you're not going to feel bad that you did that. And it's a mid $20 bottle, but it drinks like a $30 or $40 bottle. So definitely in Palisade, which we do most of our volume, I do see that very successful, those SKUs. And then when you're talking about distribution, our sparkling does extremely well. And then to talk about that newer demographic, I think these younger kids, they don't mind trying stuff they've never heard of. So we have our Pet Nat series, and then the Pet Nats are naturally sparkling, bottle fermented, no sulfites added. And we use a lot of those American cold hardy varietals. So I could have Aramella, Vignoles, Marquette grapes that you have rarely heard about or haven't, experienced too much. Those are selling pretty good, and it's just more about marketing correctly, and that's why we market our blends, and we try to have kind of cool labels, and of course we want the juice to match. But that's what I'm seeing trending right now is I would just say sparkling wine in general is growing very rapidly.
Do those come in a glass bottle, or you mentioned cans, correct?
Yeah, correct. We do have a canned product, but our sparkling wines are in that traditional kind of champagne. They call it the Champakova bottle, the one you're used to seeing, the really nice curve.
Oh, yeah.
But what's cool about our sparkling wines, we always finish them in a crown cap, and it's super sustainable. Well, we can't afford the corker machine, but also cork is not that sustainable. So we do a recyclable aluminum crown cap, and it's kind of a modern take on tradition, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So we really like doing that. And then the canned product, I have a very sustainable upcycled product where I take the grape skins and I actually add water to them, water it down to get the alcohol down and get a second extraction. Because in like a white grape, there's still, after you press it and make your white juice for white wine, you still have the skin that has sugar. It's got flavor in there. So we're trying to, it's like a second steeping on a tea bag, and we're trying this sustainable product to get that last little bit of wine out. And that's what we put in our canned products. And we make about a 6% alcohol wine that way.
Oh, wow. Now that sounds very economical. Now, Patric, I am sure that you ran into some scary times. And one thing I like to get out there for our viewers to know about is everybody is going to run into times where they're scared to death and fear overtakes them. For some people, it makes them push forward. For other people, it kind of stalls them for a while until they figure out a solution. Did you ever come across anything like that for yourself?
Oh yeah. So COVID, of course, before COVID, we were doing really good. We were in business, I don't know, about a year, and we had about 84 wholesale accounts, which we were self-distributed, managing on our own. So it was a lot of work, of course, because we're making the wine too. But COVID hit, and it was, you could say it's good for the alcohol industry, but we were a new brand. And I think during COVID, people were not trying new brands. They were grabbing, that yellow kangaroo bottle or whatever it is they drank and they're used to in the liquor store or the grocery store, and they just want to get out of that store,
Right. They didn't want to be wearing that mask.
Yeah, and they were really creatures of habit at that time, reverted back to that, and new brands, I think, struggled a little bit. So in Mesa County here, though, we were granted a 5-star variance, and as long as we followed the rules, stayed safe, and were compliant, we were able to be open. So, unbeknownst to us, everyone canceled their vacation. Well, their vacations got canceled, and they all came to the Western Slope. So we really blew up, and especially I think our valley realized how important agritourism was during the time of COVID, because we're naturally socially distanced our space. We have big garage doors, fans. We open it up, and of course you're in a rural area, so you can enjoy your wine and be safe as far as the COVID guidelines were concerned. And just people were coming in flocks. So we experienced a very big boom there. And they're
was that this year?
No, the first year was COVID, 2020?
2020, I believe.
Yeah. 2020. So but prior to that, right when COVID hit, I remember we had all these barrels full of wine, and I don't know, closer to $1 million worth of inventory. And I'm just
Oh,
looking at all this and I'm like, damn, we are really in some big trouble right now
yeah.
because we're closed. We had no one coming in, but because Mesa County let us stay open, we actually changed, we adapted, we changed our whole business plan. We built this for wholesale distribution. We went to Home Depot, we bought some workbench tables, we built a little makeshift portable bar, and we opened our doors in the middle of COVID, and everyone came, and
Wow.
we just blew up. And I really enjoyed it because it changed our whole business plan from wholesale, where you're getting 12, 13, 14 bucks a bottle. But now we're more focused, about 80% focused on direct to consumer. And we've just opened our second tasting room because, you know, we're building that experience for the guest, and we're explaining the wine, we're educating them, we get to talk them through it. And of course, we're getting a higher profit potential, you know, from that same bottle. So that's really helped us propel, you know, just get to a better place quicker in this
Do you
industry.
also supply restaurants with your wine?
Yes. So our distributor handles, you know, 99% of that. And we should be all throughout the Front Range, Fort Collins down to Pueblo, you know, in the mountains. So we just don't go to the Four Corners yet, which I'm trying to work on some deals with distributors that can fill the gap. And we're really close to getting our first pallet picked up, hopefully next week, going to Austin, Texas. So it'll be
wow.
our first out of state wine. And they're like super specialized in these rare, unique wines, like the pet nats and that kind of stuff that I'm talking about.
Is it called Sauvage Spectrum? Or how are people going to know what to look for?
Yes.
You're interviewing and they want to know, okay, what's on the bottle? What do I look for?
Yeah. So most of the time it is Sauvage Spectrum. But we kind of have separate labels underneath the brand. So
Okay.
a big label we run is Sparklet, and it barely says our name. It just says it very small in the back, because we're trying to build this lifestyle brand. It has this really beautiful appeal, beautiful print on the bottle. So look for the Sparklet brand if you want an affordable sparkling wine any day of the week. Our Domain series, it's, again, it says our name, it's a little bit smaller, but Domain is kind of your everyday wine that you don't mind drinking, like I said, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night. And then of course we have some of our own, you know, that are advertised a little bit better as Sauvage Spectrum, you know, Gruner Veltliner, Sauvage Spectrum, Teraldigo. And we're really kind of doing these single varietals, and putting our name on those a little bit bigger.
I love it. That's great. Is there anything else that you can inform our viewers of? Since I'm not necessarily the best connoisseur of wines, I like to drink it, you know, a glass of it. And
that's our perfect clientele. You know, we really try to be unpretentious. So the fact, come visit us in Palisade, and if you like something, then it's good. You know, we're not here to blow smoke and tell you that it's something it's not. It's we just want you to try it, give it a try, and come visit us in Palisade, and you'll see a real winery with the tanks, and you'll see us making the wine right in front of you. So I love it. I think we'd enjoy having you out.
Patric, do they fly in? Where's the best place for them to fly into?
You know, you could fly into Grand Junction Airport, of course. But you know, they try to trick you on those fares and tell you they're $50 and they end up being 500. So it's not a bad drive. It's probably one of the most beautiful drives in America if you're coming from the Front Range, I would say.
Oh, I totally agree.
Just give yourself, you know, 3.5, 4 hours. Never know what construction is going to be like, but there's plenty of beautiful, you know, stopovers on the way.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, Patric, so much for taking some time out and explaining it. As I said, Patric is a legend and a busy man, so I really appreciate you taking some time to do this interview with me.
I appreciate meeting you, and thank you guys for coming in and being fans. I'm glad you had fun and
Oh, yeah,
turned into this. It's great.
that's right. We may have to make it an annual event.
Good. Oh, I hope you do. More than that.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you, Ginny. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, sounds good.
All right,
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.